If you're a fan of both movies and unique art, I've got a very special gift for you or your loved ones this holiday season you can check out. It's called Movie Palette. Here's how it works. Movie Palette creates these artistic canvases out of the color palette from the various scenes of your favorite movies. For example, my favorite movie is Pulp Fiction. So I received the Pulp Fiction movie palette, which has the colors of the various scenes in the film. It's almost like taking the entire movie and compressing it into one piece of art. Very unique and very special. If you use the code GEEKDOM15 at checkout, you get a 15% discount on everything at Movie Palette. So check them out, moviepalette.com. So it may be a little bit too early to talk about Spider-Man 4, but there's leaks coming out, supposed leaks, about Spider-Man 4 already and what they have planned going forward. So I want to preface this by saying that I cannot confirm this or not. This is stuff that's been going around now, the internet, but I do want to cover it for you guys because it'll get the topic going and the discussions going down below. So, Film Odyssey. Now, I'm not sure the legitimacy of Film Odyssey. The profile says sometimes I get things right, sometimes I get things wrong. Life, am I right? Now I respect that because a lot of these leakers, and I'm talking about leakers all over the internet, when they get stuff wrong, they oftentimes don't ever admit, sometimes I get things wrong. I've gotten things wrong, this guy's gotten things wrong, lots of people get things wrong. It happens. Nobody can ever be perfect. But I don't know what their credibility actually is, but apparently because they were being featured on 4chan, not on 4chan, I'm sorry, on Reddit by other more credible leakers, there might be something to it. So let's talk about it here. He writes, as it's been mentioned, Miles Morales will be in Spider-Man 4. Now, just to clarify, when they're saying Spider-Man 4, they're not talking about, excuse me, they're not talking about a sequel to the Tobey Maguire Sam Raimi movies. It's not Spider-Man 4 in that universe, even though I know a lot of people who want to see that, including me. That's not what he's talking about. He's talking about the MCU Spider-Man 4. In other words, the continuation of the story, that we left off with in No Way Home. With the MCU Spider-Man, with that version of Peter. Tom Holland Peter. So he goes on to say he won't be the same age as Peter. He'll be younger. A little bit of time will have passed in Spider-Man No Way Home from what I can tell. Well, of course, time's going to pass. No word on if Donald Glover will be returning as his uncle. We'll have to see. Now, again, don't know how credible this is. The way it's worded is like almost what every leaker says in a way or not. But I want to discuss this real quick. So first of all, Miles Morales, all right, this is big. And what he's talking about with Donald Glover is, if you remember, going all the way back to Spider-Man Homecoming, Donald Glover plays the character that would be known as the Prowler in that film, and that is the uncle of Miles Morales. And he even brings up his nephew briefly, who at the time was probably a little kid. So that's already our first teaser. Now, originally that was put in there as like an Easter egg. Maybe we'll do it. We're not sure. But it appears like they're going to eventually come back to that. So Miles Morales is one of the most popular. This Miles Morales character was introduced in the Ultimate Spider-Man series and was later on brought into the main Marvel timeline thanks to one of the Secret Wars. I don't remember what year. I think it might have been the 2000. It might have been the one from the 2000s, but I honest to God do not remember. So I'm sorry, I'm not an expert when it comes to dates on these things. But he was brought in because of how popular he was, because we have a character that's got a great backstory, a very likable character. He's also a minority, so representation means a lot to a lot of people. We've got like a black/Hispanic Spider-Man that, was, again, Jamie Foxx in No Way Home. No Way Home. He even brought that up, and the movie theater had a big pop. That was another tease for a, dark skin or darker skinned Spider-Man. So they've already laid the foundation for this. What I'm curious about is, will Sony actually be okay with the MCU now having a fourth Spider-Man? Because technically, they had Tobey and Andrew, which aren't really theirs, but they borrowed them for No Way Home, so they're going to be borrowing Miles Morales. I mean, the truth is, guys, and you know this if you follow the business, Marvel Disney is borrowing Spider-Man as a character. They borrowed Tom Hardy as Venom too. It's part of that collaboration, like how Sony borrowed Michael Keaton as the Vulture for Morbius. So this is interesting to me. It's interesting because will they actually be okay with it? And if so, are they going to eventually bring that Miles Morales into the Sonyverse? There's been so many rumors of Amazing Spider-Man 3 and Sam Raimi Spider-Man 4 since No Way Home came out that I almost feel like them not doing it would cost them money. There's been so much love given to those two actors for what they did in No Way Home. And so many fans love that movie. And I am in shock that Sony has not already announced another Spider-Man project that's separate from the MCU. I don't know what their plans are. Obviously, these guys are going to come back. Well, not obviously, but it's rumored they're going to come back in the Avengers Secret War story. But now we got another Spider-Man. Now, obviously, most of you watching this already know about Into the Spider-Verse. If you don't know, Miles Morales is the main character in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and he meets Peter Parker and several different other Spider-Men from other Spider-Gwen, etc., from different multiverses. They did the multiverse stuff first before the MCU Spider-Man did it. And now we have later on this year Across the Spider-Verse, which is going to be a huge freaking movie. This is once again another Spider-Man being brought in. Now, with Miles Morales being in No Way Home, or not in No Way Home, in Spider-Man 4 MCU, now I'm starting to wonder about a timetable here because if we get Avengers Secret Wars, we could see this Miles Morales in that story, and then there could be an incursion where his universe is destroyed, he ends up in the MCU. That could happen. But the whole thing with Donald Glover, I mean, he might be in it as the Prowler. Not really sure about that one. But there's different ways they could put Miles Morales in. They could just keep it simple and just say that Miles was a kid during the events of Spider-Man, the MCU. And maybe he's even a kid who disappeared with the blip. I mean, there's a lot of things they could do. You know, he's a child and he lives in the MCU. He's just naturally there, not through a multiverse thing, and just wants to be like Spider-Man. So he becomes his own Spider-Man. Maybe he finds out that Spider-Man began as a boy, a high school boy, and maybe he's like, you know what? If a high school kid can do it, I can too. And maybe Miles is in high school, and maybe he thinks he can be Spider-Man, but he doesn't have any powers, and then maybe he gets the powers. I mean, they could do a lot of different things. There's a lot of, I could sit here and I come up with 15 different ways to bring Miles Morales in. It could be a blood transfusion. It could do a lot of things to bring Miles in, not just the multiverse stuff. So I want to know in the comments down below, how would you bring in Miles Morales? Would you have him be a part of one of the other universes that's going to be a part of Secret Wars and have the 3 Spider-Men meet that version of Spider-Man, the Miles version? Would you have it be a branching timeline from Into the Spider-Verse? Maybe that ties into this. I mean, they could tie all kinds of different things in based on how they've kind of split the universe up. You know, or will it be something where he just wants to be Spider-Man, so he becomes Spider-Man? I don't know. You tell me what you think down below. Personally, I think if they write the story right, I would love to see a Miles Morales, Peter Parker team up in Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland playing Peter. That would be great. I'd be fine with it. It might be a bit too soon to bring him in. Maybe bring him in for one of the later films, but if they want to establish him and then give him his own movie later on, they could do that as well. We do know that Tom Holland did sign a 3-movie deal. So he'll be doing 3 more movies. I don't know if it's going to be just Spider-Man movies. I don't remember reading the details of it. It could be just that, or maybe it's 3 Spider-Man movies and other appearances in other MCU films. He's coming back. Just a matter of how will he be used and how will Miles be used. Let me know. Talk to you in the next video.